All right, everyone, how you doing today? Hopefully you're having an awesome day. And this came up this morning and interesting and concerning at the same time. So, Bayonetta voice actor Hellena Taylor says she didn't reprise the role in Bayonetta 3 as she was only offered $4,000. She's asking fans to boycott Bayonetta 3 and donate it to charity instead. Now, before we continue, I have her video here, and let's go ahead and watch this together, and let's see what she has to say.
Hello, my name's Hellena Taylor, and I am the voice of Bayonetta, and I would like to explain to you why I didn't voice Bayonetta 3. The Bayonetta franchise made an approximated $450 million. That's not including merchandise. As an actor, I trained for a total of 7.5 years. 3 years at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art, LAMDA, with voice coach Barbara Barkery, and 4.5 years with the legendary Larry Moss in Los Angeles. And what did they think this was worth? What did they offer to pay me? The final offer to do the whole game as a buyout, a flat rate, was $4,000 US. This is an insult to me, the amount of time that I took to work on my talent and everything that I have given to this game and to the fans. I am asking the fans to boycott this game and instead spend the money that you would have spent on this game donating it to charity. I didn't want the world. I didn't ask for too much. I was just asking for a decent, dignified living wage. What they did was legal, but it was immoral. Now, those of you who follow me on Twitter know that I'm more of a lover than a fighter, and sometimes think I'm not very much like Bayonetta at all, but I guess I am a little bit more like Bayonetta than I thought. I understand that boycotting this game is a personal choice, and there are those that won't, and that's fine. But if you're someone who cares about people, who cares about the world around you, who cares about who gets hurt with these financial decisions, then I urge you to boycott this game. I decided to do it to stand up in solidarity with people all over the world who do not get paid properly for their talents. Fat cats cream off the top and leave us the rotten crumbs. You know, in England right now, there are nurses going to food banks to feed their children. This is not right. This is not acceptable. It impacts mental health. Because of it, I suffered from depression and anxiety. I worried that I was going to be on the streets. That terrified me so much that once I was suicidal. I am not afraid of the non-disclosure agreement. I can't even afford to run a car. What are they going to do? Take my clothes? Good luck to them. Bayonetta always stands up for those with less power and stands up for what is right. And in doing this, you stand with her. Thank you.
That's pretty unfortunate in her situation. I do feel for her. Um, you know, with everything going on in the world and with stuff like this that still goes on, it makes you question. Like for me, I look at things like this. I'm pretty centered on most things. I don't I don't really lean left, right, or anything like that. I just look at what's right and what's wrong. I look at what seems realistic, and it's clear that the way things are going, especially not just with Platinum Games or just the video game industry in general, but just as a whole in terms of people being paid fairly. For someone like her to basically voice the main character in a video game franchise that made over $450 million, and for her to say that to this day she is not able to afford to drive a car, she's basically on the verge of living on the streets, and I'm like, what the hell? If these companies wants to have like the best products out there and basically make all of this money, pay the people that are involved in these projects to help get you there fairly. That's my thing. Just pay them fairly. And it's not just voice acting. It's basically anything, any kind of job. If you're working a job and you're full time, a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, full time, full benefits and everything, make sure you are being paid in that you don't have to get a second or third job just to make ends meet. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people right now that are basically in that position that they have to do it that way to make ends meet because their primary jobs don't pay enough for living life, for paying your bills, your house, food, electricity, all that stuff. And for someone like her, to some extent, I kind of understand why they were offered that. I don't think that's even right either. I think something needs to change, and the fact that they have someone like her that voices a very popular character, and I'm pretty sure Bayonetta 3 is going to be the best seller out of the 3 games. Pay the people that are doing the work for you to make the game successful. There is a part 3. Let's go ahead and watch this.
For those of you who are interested, I'd like to go into a little more detail about the back and forth. The first thing was I was required to audition again, because sometimes voices change with time. So I auditioned for the role and obviously passed with flying colours. They then sent me an insulting offer. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to write to Hideki Kamiya. I'm going to write to him and ask him for what I'm worth. So I got a friend who has been in business in Japan to write in Japanese to him. I know he read it because I got a reply. I got a reply saying that he values greatly my contribution to the game and that the fans really want me to voice it over, and the memory of first meeting me as Bayonetta is a memory I hold dear. So I thought, great, thank God. That was when they offered me $4,000. Do you know, Platinum had the cheek to say that I was busy, that they couldn't make it work with Miss Taylor's schedule. Well, I had nothing but time. They now have a new girl voicing her over. And I love actors. I wish her all the joy in the world. I wish her all the jobs, but she has no right to say she is the voice of Bayonetta. I created that voice. She has no right to sign merchandise as Bayonetta, any more than I have the right to sign as Eva Green, even though I was her parrot on the video game The Golden Compass. That portrayal is hers and hers alone. They'll probably try and do a spin-off with Jan. Don't buy that either.
That's actually an interesting point that I think some people will gloss over, is that there's a difference between having the original voice actor versus getting a replacement to mimic what the original voice actor did. So if, say, like they use anyone else for the original Bayonetta game and did the voice, I'm almost guaranteed that the voice of Bayonetta would have been different. The fact that she was the original one and basically made what Bayonetta is today, with the kind of tone, her voice, the way she talks, and having a replacement to basically mimic what the original voice actor did is two completely different things. So I'm kind of torn on this because I am a fan of the Bayonetta franchise. I play the first, I play the second. I replayed them again when they came out on the Switch, and I was looking forward to Bayonetta 3. I'm not going to say I'm going to boycott it, but I may hold off on buying it on day one. I may wait a little bit, see what happens. Maybe there's additional information that comes out that starts clarifying things. But again, it is a real shame stuff like this still goes on today. And it's not just in the voice acting industry or the video game industry. It's actually basically all over. It's basically all jobs. Yeah, you have to some extent I understand, but I don't think it's right either that, for a company, to maximize profits while you have the higher ups, making all the money, you basically have everyone else working underneath trying to work for scraps. And essentially that's basically what happened with her. And it's really sad and unfortunate. I don't think this is something you can blame Nintendo on, because they just funded the project to get Bayonetta 3 made. It's more the decisions that Platinum Games did. Now, with all this coming out, it will be interesting to find out if Nintendo is going to continue funding additional sequels, or they're like, you know what, we're going to be done with this. We don't want to be involved with this and go their separate ways. But we'll have to wait and see. It's kind of a shame because I am a fan of Platinum Games and their game styles. I am currently going through Nier Automata on the Switch. It recently came out. That's a Platinum developed game. It's kind of a shame stuff like this will go on. People doing these kinds of jobs, either video games, movies, or more important things in life. Like even she said, you have nurses in our country that are literally going to food banks because they just cannot afford. And I'm sorry, but if you're working in the hospital and you're saving people's lives, why are they not paying you enough? What's going on? And I do give her credit, basically knowing her worth, stepping away, and all that. So, I do wish her the best. I do wish her well. And I feel bad for her that, she got in a depressive state, basically near self-deletion. And it's just one of those things where I think that when more and more people start to demand things and demand better wages, demanding better pay, that is going to get to the point that they will have no choice but to up the pay. So if we go back to the IGN article, let's get going here. But Bayonetta voice actor Hellena Taylor has shared that she didn't reprise her role for Bayonetta 3, as she was offered only $4,000 to do so. Furthermore, she asked fans to boycott the game and donate it to charity instead. Now, if you want to boycott and donate to charity, that's your choice. For me personally, I'm going to wait it out and see what happens. Maybe there's additional information. I'll just say this too. There's plenty of games out there. You don't necessarily have to buy and play Bayonetta 3. There are plenty of other games out there that you can play. You know, we're in an age now where we have basically infinite amount of entertainment that we can consume and play and enjoy, that you don't necessarily have to support a particular game if stuff like this happens. You can play other games where the people behind it were treated much better. But let's go on here. The Bayonetta franchise made approximately $450 million, and that's not including merchandise. As an actor, I trained for a total of 7.5 years. Okay, all this is basically from the video. But yeah, so this guy here, the tweet from that account was removed. But so basically the main guy that runs Platinum, or one of the studio heads, Kamiya, I think that's how you pronounce it, responding with these allegations with a short tweet saying, "Sad and deplorable about the attitude of untruth. That's all I can tell now. By the way, beware of my rules." This right here is very bothersome to me, because it does not matter if you're running a major development studio or if you're like the big dog in some company. If you're still going to be disrespectful and treating employees and contractors like absolute garbage, then I don't have any respect for you. You're still a POS. I'll probably make a part 2 of this as more information comes out. So yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens going forward. Would I tell people to boycott the game? No, that's your choice. Do whatever you want. And I completely understand that if none of this actually matters to you and you just want to play the game, that's your right. This kind of shows you one of two things. Either Platinum Games views voice actors like second-class citizens, or the budget for Bayonetta 3 is so small that literally this is all they can afford to even have this game even somewhat profitable. And if that's the case, if say like this is the latter where Bayonetta 3 was developed on a very, very shoestring budget, then I'm asking, okay, why is there a Bayonetta 3 if this franchise doesn't make all that much money? That's just me. But then again, the franchise did pull in its lifetime sales of $450 million. And I'm like, okay, out of all that money, you couldn't spare more than $4,000 to pay this woman? Seriously? It is what it is. I feel bad for her, and I'll just say this. Make your own decisions. I'm at the very least going to wait it out and see what happens, but I'm probably going to hold off buying this game until more information comes out. But that's it. Like always, have a good one. Let me know in the comments down below. Be an interesting discussion. And if there is a part 2 with more information, I'll make a part 2.